Good evening, YouTube. This is Matthew Williams, and I'm just bringing you different coloured hair. Different coloured hair. Hey, I just bleached my hair for a laugh. Always wanted to do that. Always wanted to do that. Didn't really want to do it when my mum was alive because she didn't like that sort of thing. And she would have gone absolutely fucking mental. So, knowing it was just a lot easier not to do this sort of thing because I might be ending up going home and might have to face the music. No, I didn't do these things, but there we are. We all have to grow up, and sadly Mum is no longer around, so that's not one thing I have to worry about. If she's watching me from upstairs, well, she's probably very pissed off about all the things I do that she knows about by now. Anyway, fuck that. This book, The Face and the Message by Jon Michell. Right, this book costs about £9.25, something like that. Made by Gothic Image Productions. It's got 36 pages. I wouldn't exactly call it environmentally friendly because it's printed on bloody card nearly every page. It's basically saying, unless you've seen a crop circle in reality, preferably from the air, you can have no idea of its awesome effect. God's gold, mirrored constellations beaming from the green depths of the English countryside. Well, it all sounds very good, doesn't it? It always bloody well does. But anyway, Jon Michell is the guy that brought us the ley line, or rather brought the ley line back into popular sort of interest. And you know, he's a hardened, or was, because unfortunately he's dead now. He's where my mum is. So he used to, you know, sort of research crop circles, if you can call it research, which really just comes down to the fact that, you know, he thinks that these things are just too hard for people to do, which ain't research. It's kind of an opinion. I was introduced to him once, and he just said to me, "Oh, you say you make the crop circles, do you?" And I said, "Yes." Right, well, that's a load of bullshit. And he walked off. And it's like, okay. You know, he probably just divined it. You know, he probably just got his internal copper divining rods. And he said, "Is he telling the truth? No, he's not, because my ego doesn't want it. So I'm going to cross my rods and say no." So, Anyway, yeah, you know, this face is quite interesting. It appeared near the Arecibo design, and some people thought that it was a reply. Now, you could say, is it a face of an alien, or is it a face of a person? Well, I actually think it's the face of a person, because it has a nose, you know, and it has a defined nose which is shown off into shadow, which means, like, my nose here is going off into shadow in the same way as this nose is going off into shadow, actually in the same direction. No, it's not me. It ain't me. I don't think it's me. But anyway, the basic premise of a grey alien would be a flattened face and maybe slits for nostrils, but definitely not a side shadowed nose. So I think we're talking about a human face here. Anyway, you know, like I was trying to tell people, and you're going to see pretty soon because I'm going to get around to doing the video, but this type of circle design is almost like a forerunner for people that might need to be filling in squares. So it's square practice, and you know, when you can do squares like that, then you can obviously fill them in various ways to create these sorts of designs, like the Arecibo message and its reply. Because if you can subdivide a field, a square, you know, into lots and lots of little squares, then you can make binary codes. You can make you can round off all the edges, as this one did, round them all off, and then you're going to get the ability to make a picture like that. And I mean, when you actually look at it, you know, like up close, it's not actually that it's not that accurate. It's sort of bent off. It's like they didn't even keep a straight line. It's sort of bent off. But there we go. You know, it appeared near Chill Bolton, which is a radio telescope, and they thought it was a reply back from space. Now, I'm interested in what are we meant to think, and should we? We are informed by the message that extraterrestrials are amongst us. Great, okay. I mean, their home is somewhere else in the universe with 3 inhabited planets in its solar system. They are short, large-headed, and made of silicon. Made of silicon? No, I think that's a constituent part of their sort of... we're carbon. So they're silicon, is it? Okay. If they were made out of just silicon, that would be very interesting. Anyway, they can enter into our minds and imitate our computer processes. They are civilized and cultured, witty and elusive. Right? I mean, you know, this is Jon Michell. This is Jon Michell, and he is, you know, telling us that this is what the crop circles are about. And you know, charging a good fair whack to tell us this, you know, that here we are. It has been apparent, and this is under the chapter A Likely Story, it has been apparent for some years that the top quality formations are not made directly by trampling or pushing over crops in the field, but some kind of action at a distance. This was proved to anyone who cared to look at it. Well, that's not you, is it? You haven't fucking looked at it. I'm sorry, you have not fucking looked at it, because if you had fucking looked at it, Mr Michell, you wouldn't have come to that conclusion. Yeah? Anyone who cared to look at it, by a crop figure that appeared on 23rd of July 1997 in a wheat field just below Silbury Hill. A large fractal design based on a 6-pointed star. This is technically called a Koch hexagon. Yeah, I mean, people are doing stuff that just is so much better than that today. Yeah, and they're known man-made teams. And this is the one he's on about. He's on about that. Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's pretty, but it's a 6-fold geometry. 6 is the easiest geometry to do in a field. If you don't know about how to make crop circles, 6 is the easiest number for things that you want to measure out in a field. I don't know. I mean, you know, it comes to something, doesn't it? You know, that somebody is so revered. And, I mean, I was introduced to him by a very dear friend of his who completely believed that crop circles are made by people. That's Jürgen Kronig, the journalist from German newspaper Die Zeit. And he's written books about the subject, but he couldn't get Jon Michell to believe the truth. He couldn't get him to do it. And like I said, I met him. He was very get out of my way, you know. And it's like, okay, you know. And thought, well, that was a waste of time going down to see him just to get snubbed like that. But there we go. Some people don't want the truth. Mr. Jon Michell is living, or was living, in his own little bubble. The trouble is, I just hate the thought that if they can't get it right with crop circles, then what does it mean about the rest of their research at the end of the day? Because if everybody's going to take this man's word on stuff, you know, oh, ley lines mean this, and aliens mean this, and God means this, and crop circles means this. Well, I know he's wrong on the crop circles, so how many other things is he wrong on? And that's the type of question I like to ask myself a lot. And they do say you shouldn't speak bad of the dead, but there is a sort of caveat in that. You should never speak bad of the dead unless they really deserve it. So, over and out, and next time you see me, this might have changed into something else.